Well, good afternoon, my beautiful people. Hey, Melanie. It's good to see you, love. It's good to see you. Working here, working hard. It's been hot here in Florida. But I'm glad we've been having rain, but we haven't had rain for several days, so I'm waiting for the rain to hit again. But the yard's been mowed and everything's been going well. What else do we have to discuss? Oh, yeah, the case of Lilly and Jack Sullivan out of Nova Scotia. We have not talked about them. Melanie, Southern, Eeyore, Mickey Shell, Don, it's nice to see you. Carla, J.H., Kathleen, Sabrina, hello, hello, hello. It's nice to see you all coming in here. There's nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing to report, but we will set the record straight. Did I take a picture of it? Did I? I did. Okay. Thanks to a lot of great work from the coffee club, we have found the problem with why there were no stories and the reason why there were no stories for the kids. Because it's bull. It was poor Betty's fault. I went on the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. This is one in Nova Scotia. I didn't read. It's Canada. I don't know these things. Apparently I was following both. And I didn't realize that when I searched, I went to the main one instead of the Nova Scotia. And sometimes as content creators make, mistakes like that, and we start questioning things, and next thing you know, bada bing, bada boom, our audience is here to save the day and tell us what happened. And thank God they didn't send me laughy faces. They just said, I think, there's this link here, and when I look at it, it seems to have some posts. I don't know which one of you guys sent it to me, but thank you. Thank you. There is. They did not remove the posts. Problem solved. We got to the bottom of it. We were on the wrong channel. We were on Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Do I have that one? Let me see if I can show the difference. Do I still have that one here? Yeah, there it is. Difference. Problem solved. It was Bullhorn Betty. So I am the culprit of the story going around that there is no more posts of Lilly and Jack, and the account was cleansed. I had the wrong account. It happens. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. It happens. But we are correcting it, things happen, people make mistakes. I'm human. And so we made just a critical mistake. So the problem and everything has been figured out. As you can see, two totally different Facebook groups. I don't know, maybe this Facebook group was down at the time. I didn't see any other group for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. When I searched Royal Canadian Mounted Police, usually they have all of them listed. So you would clearly see that one was missing, or one, there was multiple there, but it only brought up one. And I went to that one. It said I was following it. So I was looking for information and couldn't find it. So now we can get back to, what was the last post. We'll go over that rigmarole. I'm not prepared to do that today. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have everybody under the sun searching why, and they did give me pretty good reasons why, if they were missing off the site. Believe it or not, Canada they actually do have a policy and procedure when this case goes from a missing person, or they're found, or anything like that. They actually go through and remove all that because it's considered privacy in Canada. So they will go back and remove all the posts. I didn't know that. So we actually uncovered something that we thought happened that didn't happen, but theoretically, under the laws of Canada, will most likely happen when that time does come. So this is interesting. we kind of stumbled on something by dumb luck, just by dumb mistake. But we did figure that out, and it does appear that all of their posts are there, so that's a good thing. And it does appear that even though they weren't removed, when these children are found or it progresses to a different place, like the case progresses, they really may remove these. So this is good to know now, and maybe it's a silver lining, because maybe we need to go back to the RCMP and make sure we get all those screenshots, because we do now know those screenshots will not be available to the public for forever. They will only be up there, and once this case moves to a different plan of action, or these children are no longer missing. Once they're no longer missing, all those posts go away. So now that we know that, we'll know that for the future. But make sure, if you're doing content creation and you're covering this case, go and get those screen captures, because you're going to need them later. Kelly, you're in here, and I remember you giving me an update, and I think I forgot to go over that. So we'll go over that now. Give me just a second so I don't forget. From a few days ago, and if you guys don't know, we covered the case of Marsha Norman and Jeffrey Ziz on here, and Kelly is related to Marsha, and so brought this case to our channel, and so we've been covering it. But he was arrested, the her aunt was found, and he's now proceeding through the court system. So she just gives us updates here and there on what is going on and some of the stuff. So she sent me an oh, that's no longer there. So it was there, and it was his upgraded charges. So it looks like they finally did, because I think he was charged with some of these, but not all of these. And he is charged with the big child M, the child SA in the second degree, from before her aunt was, kidnapped and ultimately harmed. But they've got unlawful disposal of human remains, kidnapping in the first degree while armed, murder in the first degree, and then the child SA in the second degree, which was on literally 7 days. That happened, like, he was charged with that like a week before. He probably shouldn't even have been out. I think that's what we did cover at that time, is that Jeffrey Ziz shouldn't even have been out. So, Melanie gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, don't forget to tell Melanie thank you. And for those, and for, it looks like Brianna got it. Brianna, thank you for being here. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club. Don't forget to thank Melanie. And I'm kind of lost for source. Why is my brain messing up on me today? Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard. You are officially in the crazy house. We're going to end it. Oh, Decor and more. Hey, love. I hope you're doing well. He was supposed to go to court end of May. I have not heard anything from that. Oh, wow. Interesting. Yeah, that's a sad case. A lot. That's what we find. I think that's what angers us here in the true crime community so much, is like literally 90% of the cases we cover, maybe higher numbers than that, were all preventable. All preventable, just, it's awful. It's awful. And I just wish we could get it together. But, no matter how many laws we put into place, evil, if they really want to do something, they're going to find a way to do it. That's just all there is to it. I think I need a second coffee. I had a migraine all day. Yeah. When I start getting migraines, it's because I'm lacking caffeine. Trial is supposed to start June 30th. He pled not guilty on all counts. Unbelievable. Well, he's going to make them prove the case. And it sounds like it's a tight case, though. It sounds like they've got it pretty buttoned up, because, to find her at a house, on a shed that he constructed on another property for another client, that's going to be pretty hard to, plan B somebody. I'm sorry, it just is. Like, that's going to be pretty tough circumstances for the defense to overcome from where I'm sitting. What evidence do they have on stepdad to trial him? I don't know stepdad. Oh, we're not talking about the stepdad in this case, in the Lilly and Jack case. This is another case that we covered. Marcia Norman. She was an older lady that lived alone, that had a handyman. The handyman, kidnapped her, did some horrible things to her, and then, she was put in concrete and buried under a shed on another property he was working on. It was just a really sad story. So he's been arrested and heading to court, it sounds like, at the end of June. And but this case here hasn't been resolved. The problem is the mom. I think the mom, and there's an article here. I like SBA News on Facebook. They're kind of like a content creator that pulls all their information from different sources for things, and they put out I remember it was further down. This one. Yeah, I think this is it. It was from 9 hours ago. It says RCMP closing in ? Lilly Jack Sullivan. That was kind of the title of it. And it says Jack and Lilly are still missing, and there have been no confirmed sightings or solid leads as far as we know. However, after reading the latest update from the police, I am convinced that they are leaning toward foul play and moving away from the theories that the children just wandered off into the woods and got lost. This would make total sense since no new search was conducted this past weekend. The mother's behavior alone would make me think foul play was involved. And that's what made me think of this article. I had just said that, it really is her behavior, even Daniel's behavior. Daniel's behavior was a little off as well. And many people honed in on that, but I think we all warmed up to him a little bit, if you will. The more he was on TV, the more he was talking about the kids, the more he was making sure the public knew, look, I'm here fighting for them. I'm here, I'm the only one right now. So, I think we were starting to see that side of it, and maybe not looking at him like he could have as much to do with it as he probably does have to do with it. And it's just us being personal with him and getting to know him just on those interviews. They're very impactful. So when you don't have a mother participating in that, and you don't have a mother that's there on the grounds while the search efforts are underway for her children, her biological children, and she's the only parent in these children's lives that we've learned. She's the only parent. Yeah, there's Daniel, but he's not married to her. He's not biologically related to them. She's the only parent, the true blue parent of these children. And she's taking off and hasn't been back. So, yeah, I can say that makes total sense, that her behavior has caused a lot of suspicion in the public. I know that I personally have suspicion of her. Oh, peanut butter and jelly. I'm so close. I live in New Brunswick. Such a sad situation. Yes, it is. Well, it's nice to see you, PB&J. It's been a while. Hugs and kisses. I'm starting to think we're looking at it all wrong, perhaps. Could they have been taken by mom's family and Malehya knows? That's a great question, Starry Eye. You know that? That's a great question. And maybe we need to start looking at this from different lenses. But I have to think this is kind of just hear me out. Let me kind of say everything, and then I want you guys to process it a little bit. The one thing that was unknown to everybody on the scene except law enforcement on May 3rd is that the RCMP Major Crimes and Forensic Investigative Unit was called in. Forensic Investigative. It was very early on, within days, that they stated these kids were deceased and no longer with us. I truly believe that they had some testing that was done that didn't come back okay. And I think that may have been why they, even though they told the public that it's because of the conditions, the weather conditions, you know, the lack of food, we all know, we all are like, what? You know, come on, right? That's to the public, that's not that's not good enough, you know. That's not good enough because, believe it or not, especially with water, you know, as long as they're drinking water, if there's rivers and lakes, they can, if they get thirsty, they can have something they can drink. You know, kids know to drink. They don't think of bugs or, you know, if they need something to drink, they're going to drink. We're the parents are the ones like, don't drink out of that, right? So, right? So I truly believe, and I have stated that when this happened at the beginning, and I'm like, you know, this is really early on that they're stating, and everybody was jumping my crap about it, and I'm like, don't kill the messenger. I'm not the one saying it. This is law enforcement. They're the ones that stated that these children aren't alive, not me. And people were a little shocked at how early on they did call that. And I've always wondered if forensically they learned something that they couldn't tell the public, but thought it was in the best interest to let the public know that they didn't believe that they were alive. It could have been several parts. They may have done it because they know their community would stop at nothing to find these children in the woods, and they had reason to believe that they're not going to. The urgency is gone. But I feel like I've always felt like there was more to their reasoning of why they believe these children are not with us anymore. It's ultimately proven true because they've been gone for 30 days. At this point, we know that these children would not be able to survive any condition this long by themselves without succumbing to the elements. Think that someone has something on someone, maybe. I do believe they were always looking for bodies, not children that were alive. Sadly, I think they know that something happened to these children, and obviously they can't come over and tell us that. Yeah, I feel like something is going to be, it's kind of up that alley. And now that we have Daniel completely dark, it it doesn't make me, let me ask the people that are from Canada in my chat, would we know if they got arrested? Do they make that public immediately? Is it like the United States? Like, we are really, really, really big on public information. Like, really, really big. Like, don't keep stuff from us unless you're statutorily allowed to keep stuff from us, right? That's how we are in America, at least for me, but I deal with a lot of public records and a lot of public records requests, so that would be my mentality when it comes to stuff like that. But I don't know how it works in Canada, so maybe somebody could help me or, you know, educate me on that. That would be great. I agree it's a little different in this case, as we're not used to a step parent stepping up and being one to speak out and searching. Yeah, and I think that's and I think that's why we kind of started believing him or looking at him differently, is because it was different for us, because most of the time it usually is the step parent that is the problem or doesn't want the children, or there was some type of hostility in the home over the children, and there very well may have been some hostility over the children, because it sounded like Daniel was the one that was saddled with taking care of these two children that were not his. That his you know, girlfriend, fiance, whatever Malehya is to him, was so focused on the other children, maybe he just couldn't handle it anymore. I mean, we don't know how to look at this case. We've been pulled a lot of different directions. Law enforcement has been, worked very hard to try to give the public as much information as they can without, interfering with the integrity of the investigation. But it still leaves so many holes and voids that it's hard not to speculate or try to fill that with some type of reasoning or common sense or deductive reasoning to kind of have an idea of where this case is at and what happened. So right now, everybody's silent. And when everybody's silent, we all know that's never, ever, ever good. That means, we're dealing with criminal investigations. We're probably dealing with interrogations that nobody's knowing about. We're dealing with a lot of stuff. But it's when you start hearing everybody shut up, it's major criminal investigation, in my opinion. I don't know that for a fact. We're dealing with a country that I'm not from, never been to, and never covered a case in. So I'm kind of flying blind. Take my opinions with a grain of salt. If you're from Canada and know better, please educate the chat, because we're all kind of learning here. So we're going to be relying on our Canadian family to help guide us in understanding what's going on and why things are going on. Yes, I am from the generation of children who drink out of the hose and look to tell. Exactly. Me too. That's funny. I love that. Yes, Lois. That's about right. Or maybe trying to gauge the parents' reaction. Yeah. Our generation never wore No, we did not. No, we did not. And you know what? I think we all turned. You know what? We not only did we turn out fine, we turned out battle ready. Like, these kids today, I keep wondering, what happens when all of us, tough ass roughnecks, when we go away, they're going to be like little lambs left to slaughter. Sorry, they are. We got some really tender-hearted kids this day and age. I don't think that's good for our society. I mean, yeah, we need a healthy balance. I would say that. We need a healthy balance of really tough guys and really soft people. That always makes for a good debate. It always makes for good policy. But to have everybody a bleeding heart, I don't know what to say. They just aren't. They don't make them like they used to. Out of all the things that we say that shock us, that's probably the only positive thing that comes out, because I'm not liking I'm in the era of, that happened 30 years ago. I don't like knowing I'm old enough to say that, okay? Now, I can feel a little bit, hold my head up a little bit higher this day and age, saying, you know what? They don't make them like they used to. I don't know if this world will be blessed with another Bullhorn Betty in the near future. I really don't. They're not going to be unalive on the res. Maybe they took them to the res. I don't know. I don't know. Because there's so many little nibbles that Daniel has said that in maybe overanalyzation might be a culprit in this next statement I'm about to make. But he talks about water a lot when referencing the children. He talked about one of the first few interviews, maybe the very first interview he provided. He said something to the effect that he was running ahead of the helicopters and drones and in the water with water up to his waist. And we didn't really pay attention to that at first until somebody started passing around the cover of a magazine, a fishing tournament magazine, where he won a fishing tournament. And I'm like, and we went back and I'm like, now this is kind of playing into this water thing, because now we're starting to see that he has a history with water. He has a knowledge and a love of water. I mean, so much so he's on a fishing tournament magazine of winning a tournament. And then we hear something on his very last interview talking about diving in. And while, by themselves don't really say a whole lot, is this some slips? Is this leakage? Is this thing, is he telling us a little truth and not realizing it until after the fact? Is it possible? I mean, if he was wet that morning, which it sounds like that morning when law enforcement got there, he would have been wet at least up to his belt line. That's the way I'm taking it. Is that the way you guys are taking it? Canadian here, if an arrest has been made, RNCP would say so. Okay, well, that's good to know. My friend lives in Truro, knows people that know the mom. They're described her as, effed. Wow. Julie is going to call RCMP on Daniel and his family. She is, that lady, good gracious. You know what she's going to end up doing? She's going to end up getting herself bullied off this platform, because people are only going to deal with that for so long, and then they're going to start really going after her. And it's not me. I mean, I just sit back and watch this stuff. I try not to get involved in it unless I'm drug into something, and then I just put the hammer down and walk away. It's kind of how I do it. I'm a one and done chick. But her doing this, people really get turned off by that. And it's only going to take people dealing with her doing stupid stuff for so long before they start to making her feel we are warriors. Yes, I believe they're on the reservation. But if they were on the reservations, the chief, I think, just out of professional courtesy to cooperating with local law enforcement. I mean, it's not like it's a wild west where the police don't get along with the chief. From what I understand, everybody gets along out there, and I don't see where a chief would willfully, maliciously withhold that information while the whole world is searching for these children. It just, to me, I just don't see a chief doing that. I think a chief would have more pride in him being chief than to cost the Canadian taxpayers this much money if he was well aware of where these children are. And then the grandmother's behavior, let's not forget that. They're like Chris and Katie, they're just stupid. I know they're my kids too, but we are not done good. I don't know why we should have done better. What we should have done better, we can't change it now. That's true. No, baby, your mama broke them all when she made you. These babies. Nova Scotia is almost surrounded by water. Yeah. So there might be something. I mean, because that is one of the easiest ways to hide someone, and these are little guys, so it wouldn't take a whole lot. Wouldn't take a whole lot. And if he was wet, well, he may have had to explain why he was wet to law enforcement, and that's how he explained it to why he was wet to law enforcement. But I have to think that law enforcement, Canadian law enforcement, even though they didn't tell us anything, with them bringing in the Major Crimes and Forensic Investigation Unit, I'd have to think that they were looking at this on multiple fronts. They were, hopeful that the kids just wandered off. I think after the first day not producing anything, not even a scintilla of supporting evidence that they wandered off, I think the next day is when they said, just as a precaution, let's go ahead and bring the major crimes in, let them do their thing kind of under the radar to get more information on what happened. And I kind of think that that's how everything kind of went with the RCMP major crimes. So, but I think the activity of them, using the resource of the major crime, I think, is an indicator that maybe they were also very skeptical of the statements of the mom and dad. Kelly, let me go up here and see what it say. I'm beginning to think that Daniel is innocent and is saying what she told him until she left. Yeah. But he hasn't corrected it. He's had every opportunity to come clean with the public and to come clean with law enforcement, and he's chose not to. He's chose to keep the same story that they believe they wandered off. He chose to keep the same story that she left in pink boots and he left in blue boots. I think one of the things that triggered maybe the RCMP on calling the Major Crimes Unit is because they found a pink boot under a single, not a second one, just one pink boot under the couch or the bed. I can't remember. I keep thinking it's the couch. One lone pink boot. And I remember when I read that online to you guys, I remember stopping and saying, that's a little odd. Wasn't it pink boots that she was supposed to be out in? It's a little odd that she'd be out in one pink boot. So I'm starting to feel like law enforcement may have had some indicators on the ground that maybe this story wasn't as it seemed. Just because I get along don't mean they work well together. Some people think they know everything and they don't. They have to remember they said they don't even tell their own people. That's sad. I heard they didn't call anybody. You know, when people were finding out about it, they were reaching out to them. And it sounded to me like she wanted the Amber Alert to go out just for the sole purpose of notifying everybody so she didn't have to. And I could be wrong, but it sure did sound like Sheree says, please, Lord, help them find them children and find out what happened to them. We need the truth, we do. No, you're fine, Shauna. You're fine. This is a good place. I mean, if you want to talk in the chat, I usually don't reach out as much because I'm usually running 2 screens, but when I'm like this and just, you know, I've got a lot of work going on, so I just come in here to cool off a little bit. And when I do, I pop this up and we talk about some stuff. So, you know, when it's like this and I don't have to do a whole production, then I can read the chat a little bit easier. So you're fine. You're fine. I may be way off, but this case gives me slight Andrea Yates vibes. Interesting. That's an interesting case. Huh. Haven't heard that name in a while. Yeah, Betty, the Amber Alert easier for her. Yeah, it did sound like that's why she, like, you know, because even when we were listening to her, you know, well, you know, they are, we wanted them because they could be, and that could still be, you know, in play. And it's like, you know, she was always trying to push this abduction prematurely in this case, prematurely, I in my opinion, much like Candace and Don Wells. It's just a bizarre place to be abducted. It really is. I know, you know, we know that anything can happen anywhere, but those anything can happen anywhere, those are outliers. Typically, you're not getting abducted all the way out there in Timbuktu. Oh, you're welcome. I watch Create from Canada. She's psychic. Says mom is aware all Daniel's gullible. So maybe Daniel loves her so much and is just trying to help her, maybe. And but even after she left him and blocked him, you would think that he would change course slightly, you know, if he was lying for her at some point you would think that he would realize she's about to throw him under the bus, and he would want, to talk. If you remember everything that was going on, back with when all that crap hit the fan with Jonathan, Magnolia, and me, I came public when somebody reached out to me and started telling me what was going on and told me that I was going to be swatted and all this stuff if I go public, and really kind of guiding me. And of course everything they said that would happen did happen. It's just, I find that by coming public and letting people know what was coming, I think that helped. I think that helped a lot when everything push came to shove. So I keep wondering, like when she left him, and that would have been the opportune moment, if you're going to come clean with what's really going on. And he kept on and kept on. And if he was truly covering for her, he might have just covered for her enough to put him in jail. If he's lying and continuously lying because they have some type of agreement, or he feels some type of way. But I don't know. I've got to rely on the experts that can observe these people and really put a lot of weight behind their opinion. And we've heard from Greg Hartley. We've heard from the deception detective. And these professionals, two from totally different worlds, that really don't like each other's own, assessment, yet they both come up with the same assessment, that there's deception detected, and they're very highly concerned with Daniel. And we can't dismiss that, because these people are the experts in those types of fields. Now, we can't put all of our weight or all of our eggs in one basket either, because it can be wrong or it can be right. It is just a tool to use. The statement and analysis are just a tool to be used. The behavioral analysis are just a tool to be used. They're just a tool to be used to help guide to the truth. But them themselves are infallible, are fallible as well, because just because something seems this way, there may be an outlier, or just because it seems this way doesn't make it so. So we have to be cognizant of that. But I think looking at these experts in their field, looking at these people that do this for a living, and finding out that both sides, that the behavioral side as well as the statement side, are really not liking Daniel. And we have to put a lot of weight in that, but we can't put all the eggs in one basket. We have to get total weight in that. But we do have to consider Daniel has a lot more guilty knowledge than he's playing on. And we cannot remove the element of substances. The types of substances that were involved in that house are substances that, if they're addicted, will make you very, very much a manipulator, a conniving, an expert. You'll have a PhD in manipulation, okay? A PhD in it. And that's always been my biggest concern when covering this case, and covering Daniel specifically. So, I don't know. I would be very cautious for everybody saying that they believe Daniel is innocent. I would probably, that he's more believable. Great statement. But innocent, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know what he knows, and I don't know what he's been involved in. I have more likability for him, but there's still something deep inside me that I have been trying to justify since he's coming out, and doing all these to try to justify why I feel so off. He has all the boxes, he's checking all the boxes in the right spot when it comes to a grieving parent searching for children, but there's still something off, and he's not hitting all of the boxes. But there's still something off, and I caution everybody. I mean, you guys you make your own decisions and your own opinions and your own theories. I would just caution you on putting the big innocent next to his name, because I've always felt some type of way about him, and I can't put my finger on it. And maybe something will come out here in the near future where the light bulb goes off, and I say, that's it. But right now, that hasn't happened. I don't know something about this. Past year has turned my whole way out of thinking around. I don't even know about God anymore. Oh, we can't give up faith. Trust me, I've been there, so I understand. I can identify with your feelings, but never give up. Never walk away. I grew up with a Pentecostal preacher as a grandmother. Exactly. She says that she sees mom gave them to someone. But I think with this, wouldn't it, if anybody had these kids, wouldn't you? Well, let me ask you this: if you had these children, and there is a huge manhunt, and the mom gave you these children, wouldn't you think you would call law enforcement and say, hey, the mom gave me these children. I don't want to get in trouble, and I don't want to be arrested for being involved in anything. I've had nothing to do with it. I thought I was just watching the kids, but here are the kids. I've got them. They're happy. They're healthy. I picked them up on such and such day for Malehya or Daniel. I don't know why they didn't tell you that, and I don't know why they called them in as missing children, but they're fine. There's no criminality in that. So, I always try to ask, I always like to dig a little deeper in some of your comments here, or why you think that way. Because you might say, well, it's because I may have missed something, right? I may have missed somebody, like the cousin making a statement about something. And you may say, well, I think this way, and I'll ask you why. Why do you think that way? And you'll say, because of this, 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 and this. And I'll be like, I didn't know that. Can you send me that? And then the next show I'll be on here and say, believe it or not, we found out this, this, and this, this, and this. So it can't be this, this, and this. So that's how we kind of work it on the show. But again, I don't know. I feel some type of way about Daniel. I'm fooled maybe, but I think he is manipulated by Malehya, or vice versa. Maybe they're both. Maybe we're trying to pinpoint one thing or the other on one or the other, and maybe it's just both. Maybe they just had a toxic environment, and they both, thrived off that toxicity until something really bad happened. We don't know. But yeah, you're right. Maybe he's manipulated by Malehya. Maybe Malehya was manipulated by him. We just don't have enough to this story. But we can definitely say that Malehya's own behavior is what is caused the majority of the suspicion to land on her front door. I'm not religious. However, coming from a strong religious background, I do listen carefully to religious leaders on serious issues. Yeah. I'm not convinced that either are telling the truth. That's right. They wouldn't come forward if are traded for. So maybe like a HT type of thing, Jill? I've always wondered, unless you're really into that, like, I don't know, like, unless you're really into the black market, I don't know where you would find a way to trade kids. But I guess it, just because I don't know how doesn't mean, because, we hear it all the time. We hear Polk County, Grady Judd, it seems like disgustingly almost on a weekly basis, rounding up hundreds and hundreds of people looking for children. It's enough to make you just want to vomit. But so I guess it is more common than people want to believe. I don't know. The mom lawyering up. I don't know. That just seems like actions of somebody that did something really bad. The grandmother, the way the grandmother's acting. It's hard. It's really hard, because it's hard to explain these things. And I can't justify Malehya's behavior or her mother's behavior, for that matter. And now that we've been ghosted by Daniel and law enforcement, I don't know what. We're going to have to rely on you Canadians to feed us some information. I mean, we really are. So if you're in Canada, if you're here, remember, write my email address down, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. You see something in your paper, send it to me. You see something on your news, send it to me. Because I don't know where we go from here. To me, if you want my personal opinion, I think this is a full-fledged criminal investigation, and I think they're looking squarely at Malehya and Daniel. If you want my truth. That's what I truly think is happening behind the scenes. We'll never know it. I mean, only time will tell. But I truly believe we have a full-fledged criminal investigation in this. And I think they've wrapped up their land search unless some information, they're probably going to be trying to locate some auto information, some camera information, any cameras that they may be in control of going in or out of the area. You know, and I think they're just, if something pops up, I mean, they've searched, but we should be getting some data back, forensic data back from cell phone, you know, more thorough than just the cart or the geofencing type stuff. If they pulled the warrants for the vehicles. Yeah, Kelly. Daniel hasn't been, it's been days since Daniel's given an interview. Days. We haven't heard from anybody in days. We've had one article from the Global News in a week. There seemed to be in synchronized union as well with every unconventional spiritual leader as well. We need to do better. Hey, SBED teacher. I think we were ghosted in this case. Also, the Sebastian case. Yeah, well, that happened. Eric Craddock ghosted the whole entire world back on April of 2024. He told everybody to go, you know, suck air. He didn't care then, he doesn't care now. He's a horrible sheriff. I do not think he's in it. I believe she's hurt. It's possible. It's possible, Shauna, it's possible. So, what's being held back? This is like Summer Wells. Yeah. Well, the thing with Summer Wells is Don and Candace still kept talking. They kept talking and 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 talking. And it's just like, the more they talked, the more suspicion fell on them. They just wouldn't shut up. But this and this one is much different. They're not on social media. They're not posting on social media, even though they both have social media. They're not advocating for the kids on social media. Daniel was in the public spotlight for, you know, several weeks, giving updates and whatever he could to the public. And then that's all stopped as well. And law enforcement has stopped providing real, you know, any updates to the public. They wouldn't take an interview with Global News. So, you know, we're ghosted. We got nothing. We're not even from the country, so we live like, you want to talk about nothing, like getting absolutely zilch? We've got absolutely zilch going on in this case. So if you guys hear of anything on social media, on X, on Facebook, anything that can help guide us so we can keep the audience updated with the facts of this case, please send that over to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. And guys, I thank you for being here. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. We may be able to squeeze in another live tonight. It's going to be either here or on the Crime Stories channel. So if you guys have not been on the Crime Stories channel yet to sub up, can one of my mods throw the Crime Stories channel link in chat so people can be there? We're covering the Decker case exclusively on the Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories, and I know that you guys have been kind of invested in all three of these cases, Sebastian's case, Lilly and Jack, as well as the Decker case. So I can't run all of these thoroughly on just one channel because, you know, I try to do, you know, bite-sized pieces throughout the day, you know, hour here, 20-minute video here. And so it having them all on one is just too much. It's too much research all at one bite. So I break them up, so I'm exclusively running stories for the Decker case on the Crime Story side. So please get over there, check out that channel, sub up, so you guys will be in the know. And don't forget my TikTok. A lot of the videos that you guys get on here were derived from TikTok. So if you want to be the first to know some of the information, it's typically broke on TikTok. So if you're not following Bullhorn Betty on TikTok, you might be waiting for your information, because it's always after TikTok that I come here and drop the video, because I do a video for TikTok and then I do a live over there on TikTok, and then I merge the video and the live together and I bring it over here. So you guys, if you want some breaking information, you want to hit up my TikTok. I do break information over here as well, but you guys are already subbed up here because I can see you. So get over there, be in the know, pass me around. We've been covering cases. We really try to hone in on the facts and build our theories and our speculation on the facts of the case to see if they can produce any leads or get anybody involved that knows more about these cases. And that's what our ultimate goal is. Just to give you an update, Travis Decker, if you guys would like to get over there, I just dropped another video. The search area has changed. They believe they're tracking him in a different area now. They have already moved resources into that area. If you are invested in the Decker case, don't forget to hit up the Crime Story side and check out that video. So we'll see you soon. God bless you, everyone.